Hey guys, today I wanted to ask you all a really simple but important question, and that is, how do you guys feel about the major CPAP manufacturers like ResMed, like Philips, collecting and using all your sleep data without getting your permission to do so, in that you don't sort of opt into it. In fact, you can't even opt out of it. I just wanted to see what you all thought about that and see what your feedback is regarding this. So I'd love to know what you think. Drop a comment in the comments section. Let's have a discussion about it. Today's video, I'm just gonna chat a little bit about it. Maybe discuss with you a few things you might not have thought of regarding the actual data that you're giving to them. So I know some of you from an older generation might not sort of understand how it sort of all works, but basically when you go out and buy your ResMed AirSense 10, inside it you have this little cellular modem. And that has the ability to send all of your data, how you're breathing, how many apneas you've had, how you used your machine, the settings, everything. It sends that up to their cloud, not the rain cloud, the computer cloud, which is basically, you know, going into ResMed servers so they can collect it all, use it, analyze it. Data's like gold for them. And they're just amassing huge amounts of sleep data, huge amounts. It's not just sleep data as well, it's health data at the end of the day. I think that's important to note. You know, it's not just them checking out your dreams, although I probably wouldn't want to dive too deep into my dreams, that's for sure. No, it's how you're breathing. You know, it's your medical data that they're getting. And when you get your machine, it's not like, oh, hello sir, would you like to be part of this service that we have? No, you're automatically stuck with it. You can't go into your settings there and, you know, no, I don't want you to monitor me overnight time. Stay away from my dreams. No, there's none of that. If you want to disconnect your modem, I'll put a link in the description and you can just follow it step by step. It's quite easy to do so. It's a shame that there isn't a little button or something you can switch to turn it off, or even just to pull out the card, but there's not. You've got to take it apart and take it out. But I'm going to share with you just some insights, some things I found on the web regarding the data. You might find it interesting, and then share with you a little bit about what I think about it, put it that way. So let's talk a little bit about ResMed. So they were the first in the industry to put a cellular communication chip inside every sleep apnea device. AirView, which is one of their sort of cloud platform apps, captures nightly sleep data from more than 4 million sleep apnea and COPD patients via the cloud, over 4 million. Now this is done a while back, so that would be over 20 million more now. There'd be huge, huge amounts of data collected every night. Another part of Air Solutions is ResMed's patient engagement app, myAir. You know the little app you have on your smartphone? Many of you will have that. Worldwide, 1,300 new patients sign up for myAir every day. And that would be more as well. I reckon that'd be double that. Leveraging deep neural networks and sophisticated virtuous feedback loops of learning to discern actionable insights is the key to success. The AirView platform captures 1.5 billion nights of medical sleep and respiratory care data, enabling analysis of large patient populations to glean insights that influence standards of care and patient outcomes. Okay, they're always going to make it about the patient, and they're not out there, you know, like Google's not out there to do harm, like Amazon's not out there to do harm. We're the good guys. They're out there to, you know, help you sleep better. Although data collection alone would make ResMed a standout organisation, there are tricky issues at play when it comes to gaining access to that data. Tricky issues at play. That's where user-focused design comes into play. Now get this. The key of user adoption of connected devices is really not to give them an option. You see that? The key to getting people to use this cloud and give your data is to not give them option not to, which is what they've done. You see? That's the key. If you want it, don't give them an option to turn it off. That's how you do it. They noted that every moment a device maker puts a barrier They call it a barrier. It's not a barrier, it's an option. In front of a patient presents a risk that patient will abandon that option. There's a chance you ask someone, can we have your data? They might say no to that. So don't give them the option. You lose health adopters every time you ask a patient to do a step, select a network, or flip a switch. You're asking them to do something before they see the real value. The patient doesn't understand the real value of us having their data. They don't get it. They're not smart enough to make their own informed decisions about who should use their data, so we'll make them for them. All the patient has to do is go to sleep, Farrell said. That's Mick Farrell, the CEO, and he's a very clever guy, but all you gotta do, guys, is go to sleep. Don't worry, we won't touch your dreams, not yet anyway. Look, but that's a little insight for you about what's going on. But basically, they are amassing a huge amount of your sleep data. And this is why you should be a little bit worried about it. All right, we'll go into that. So, this is some of the legal implications of CPAP data. And remember, this is all sort of relatively new. So, who knows what's going to be happening 5-10 years down the track. With advances in technology, such as the ability to manage CPAP data remotely, even when a patient is not physically present, that's the cloud sort of stuff coming in, comes a changing landscape of liability for physicians, CPAP providers, so your clinics, and patients. For example, an ATS position paper raises the question of what happens in the event of a motor vehicle accident if the driver is on CPAP and has CPAP tracking data available. All right, you've crashed your car into the Mercedes-Benz and all your sleep apnea data, all your sleep data, how you're sleeping is all there. You can get access to it all. You know, and they get the access to that and it shows that your apnea is not well controlled or you only used it 4 hours the night before and they're like, oh, he's fatigued. He wasn't driving well. He was impaired. What happens with your insurance company? What do you think they'll do? It's interesting. It's food for thought, okay? That's why I want to read this sort of stuff to you. If the patient has not been adherent to PAP treatment in the lead up to the accident, then is it possible that CPAP data could be used in legal proceedings? Alternatively, if CPAP data is reviewed under legal proceedings and shows a high apnea-hypopnea index, so your sleep apnea is not controlled, or large mask leak, then is it possible that the sleep physician or the CPAP provider could be liable? The guys who are supposed to be looking after you. Now, these are all things that sort of need answers to, really. A similar issue could arise where a patient appears to be adequately managed upon last review and so hasn't been followed up, even when the CPAP data was available. So if they've got access to your data 24 hours a day and something happens, then where does that liability lie? Who's responsible? Not me. That begs the question of where does the legal onus sit with sleep physicians, CPAP providers, and the patients in the event of legal proceedings associated with CPAP data. There it is. All right, so I think the take home there is, could your CPAP data be used in some way against you or someone else? That's the question that we're asking here. All right, so that's interesting, eh? There's another thing here that I really want to mention, especially for my awesome US viewers out there. I know I've got a few fans over there in the US, so I love you all too, by the way, especially those of you from Texas. A couple of lovely Texans sending a few channel donations, so you're the best. So there could be financial legal issues involved with access to CPAP data. In the USA, Centers for Medicare and Medicaid Services regulate rebates for CPAP machines, your rebates, how much money you get and where you get a new mask and all that stuff. Patients can lose access to reimbursement for their PAP device if they are non-adherent according to the CMS guidelines. PAP usage greater than equal to 4 hours per night. So basically what they're saying is that all this data could mean you lose all your benefits if you're not doing a great job with your CPAP machine. But let's face it, some of you can't wear it for 4 hours a night. Some of you can only manage 2 or 3 hours a night because, it wakes you up and that's all you can tolerate. So does that mean you should lose your benefits? I don't think so. You're still using it. You're still getting some hours sleep. But after I read that, I went digging a little bit further and I wanted to find out what the driving regulations were regarding sleep apnea. And obviously there's a whole bunch of different states and countries and regulations and stuff, and I don't have the time or the energy, especially with a newborn baby, to go and research all that. So I just did my home state of Victoria, but I encourage you to go and find out about your own state. So this is from Vic Roads. I'll put a link to the article in the description. So Vic Roads is our regulatory body in Victoria where I live. So what are my responsibilities as a driver if I have sleep apnea? So in addition to notifying Vic Roads about your medical condition. So if you've got sleep apnea, you're supposed to notify Vic Roads, just so you know if you're in Victoria. Whether or not you should do that, I'm going to leave that decision up to you. But I know what I would do. It is your responsibility to comply with treatment or advice recommended by your doctor. Failure to notify may also affect your insurance cover. There you go. So now we're getting a little bit further down the rabbit hole. Could your sleep apnea data that's in the cloud, in the server, be used by insurance companies to deny your cover? Food for thought. So, what are the medical standards for sleep apnea and driving? And this is interesting, okay? So Vic Roads determines your fitness, how strong you are to drive, on a case-by-case basis in accordance with national medical standards. Medical advice and assessment outcomes are also considered. Vic Roads will request a doctor report and may also request a report from your sleep or respiratory specialist. These reports must be no more than 6 months old and address the severity of sleep apnea, type and treatment. So you tell Vic Roads, they're going to ask for a report from your doctor. They might also want one from your specialist as well. And then, I imagine, once they know you have sleep apnea, they're going to make sure that you're using your device. So you're going to have to continuously provide them with constant reports, constant updates, all your stuff. And then what happens if you get off your CPAP machine? I don't know. Like maybe you stop using it, or maybe you lose some weight. It's interesting things to think about. And this is what I want to throw open the conversation today. What happens if I don't provide a medical report? Hey, Vic Roads, get stuffed. The medical report must be completed to ensure medical review to assess your fitness to drive. If you do not provide the medical report, Vic Roads will be unable to complete the assessment and is obliged under law to suspend or cancel your licence. Now, obviously, if you're a professional driver of some sort, a truck driver, train driver, bus driver, all that sort of stuff, you should definitely be going along with this Vic Roads stuff and doing the thing, because you could be, legally responsible here if you have a crash or something like that. But if you're just the average Joe driving to work each day, driving your kids to school, then you got to think long and hard about whether or not you want to be providing this information to Vic Roads or New South Wales Roads or wherever you live, right? I'm not going to tell you what to do or what not to do. You can make up your own minds. What else have I got? All right, so lastly, I'm just going to open up the ResMed privacy policy. It was a lot shorter than what I thought it was going to be. I'm not sure if it's the full get up or not, but this is their privacy policy on their website. And I just want to bring your attention to a few things. Privacy policy, for those of you who don't know, it's like how they use your data, how they collect it, what they use it for. What personal data do we collect about you and how do we collect it? And I'm reading through going, where's the part where they say, we collect all your data from your CPAP machine? Like, where is that? I couldn't find it. And I'm reading through and they collect your name, your date of birth, your age, your telephone number, your health insurance information, all this other stuff, blah, 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 blah. And then at the very bottom it says, any other information you provide to us. And I'm like, that's it. So they don't even say in there, by the way, we get your information and your sleep data directly beamed to us. They say any other information you provide to us. It's their way of saying, you've provided the sleep data to us. You provided it to us. You gave it to us. Even though you had no option to not give it to us, at the end of the day, you gave it to us. Bad luck. And then you go down a little bit further and it's got, how do we use your personal data? And once again, I don't know if it's got everything in here, but you got newsletters, content, blah, 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 technical support, sleep testing, risk indicators, treatment setup and support. And then you go down the bottom and it says to communicate with your health insurer and healthcare providers. That's interesting. And to fulfill our legal, regulatory and risk management obligations, including establishing, exercising or defending legal claims and acting as a medical device administrator. You do have data rights with ResMed, so you can email them privacy@resmed.com and you can request details of the personal data they hold about you and how they're processing it. You can have it rectified or deleted. You can restrict them for processing your personal data, and you can stop unauthorized transfers of your personal data to a third party. And you can also have your data transferred to someone else if you want to, or to yourself. How about that, hey? Why don't you email them and ask them, hey, can I have back what belongs to me? One more thing, guys, just before we go, is obviously all this data is up there in the cloud on servers. And we know from recent history that no matter how good a company is with their security, data breaches happen. So if you Google data breaches of major companies, you know, the list will be pages and pages long because it happens. It happens on a daily basis, data breaches. Government agencies, big tech firms, there's data breaches all the time. So what happens if there's a data breach of ResMed servers and all of a sudden billions and billions and billions of medical data is out there for health insurers, out there for life insurers, out there for the world to see. You know, these are things you guys have got to think about. You know, it might happen, it might not happen, who knows? But at the end of the day, these things do happen. And if you've got a chronic medical condition that generally lasts your whole life, do you want the world knowing about that? Do you want your employer knowing about that? It's up to you guys. But anyway, look, I just wanted to throw it out to you guys. I want to hear your feedback. Get down in the comments section, let me know what you think. It's the world we're living in at the moment. You know, everything is data. We spend all our lives on our phones, on our computers, on our CPAP machines, and all these companies they just want everything. They want to know everything about us. And health data is just becoming massive. That's why Apple's loving their little watches, you know. They get all that health data, your heart rate, your fitness, everything like that. And you just don't know how it's being used. That's the thing. It's very hard to know how it's being used. Is it being sold off to other companies? Are there big life insurers, you know, spending billions of dollars buying this stuff from Apple and third parties and all this sort of stuff? Anyway, I'm waffling. I do that. I'm sorry. I really am. I don't mean to waffle. It's just I get excited about this sort of stuff. I get emotional. I might start doing some vids on how to take out your modems and stop them spying on you if you want. Until next time, guys, look, take care. I've got some good reviews coming up for you all. So if you like the video, thumbs up. If you didn't like the video, thumbs up. And yeah, look, if you want to subscribe, you can. If you don't, that's fine too. I'll leave it up to you. The choice is yours. You can opt out of that one. All right, guys, have a good day. I'll catch you next time. Bye.